Rapaport speaking outside Columbia University in favor of Israel protesters. Watch.
Their race, their religion, their sexuality in this city. It's an embarrassment. And like I said, if these people were screaming at any other group of people, this would be taken care of. I'm wishing everybody a happy, safe Passover. I'm wishing everybody to pray, to think, to meditate, to scream, yell, beg if you need be for the freedom of our hostages. I'm Israel High.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful day. It's been really bizarre watching Michael Rapaport kind of go from a guy who is an unhinged TDS sufferer to almost like an unhinged TDS supporter. Almost like the biggest, Trump supporter imaginable. Now, he still calls him his many famous names in an attempt to, I don't know, stave off the reality that the far left progressives have not only ruined New York City, where he lives and apparently loves, but also that they have set upon a system, a world, a reality where people are allowed to spew vile things about, well, his religion, his race of people, and Democrats largely seem to support it. And he now is basically saying, you have nobody to scream at. Michael Rapaport says anti-Jewish campus protesters will end up getting Trump elected. Now, I actually thought this would be true of the Summer of Love. That's not how it worked out. So it's difficult for me to like back this and say, oh yeah, definitely that's what's going to happen. But normal, everyday people who are sitting and saying, wow, this is a weird thing going on. Aren't these kids paying $100,000 a year for school? I don't think that really resonates with regular everyday Americans. And when one of them is a politician's daughter, a Democrat, a high-profile Democrat, it's an interesting thing. Actor Michael Rapaport tore into anti-Jewish campus protesters in a video posted to X on Sunday, warning them that their actions they were taking at schools like Columbia University might result in former President Donald Trump getting reelected. I'm sure the Daily Wire would be really upset about that. Rapaport shared his thoughts in a profane rant, which I can't play because it's just, I try to avoid that kind of stuff when I can, on the channel, just, as a general rule. I know it's not like a bunch of families sit around watching my videos, but, maybe one day they would. Anyway, quote, the anti-Jewish screaming on college campuses will be worse than the screaming when Trump wins in November. You will have nobody to scream at but yourself. That includes everyone who's silent about it right now, Rapaport continued, arguing that those that remain silent in the face of the protests calling for terrible things to happen to Jewish people and the destruction of Israel, each and every one of you anti-Jewish and Israel ain't got nothing to do with me people. Hey, well, Israel does have nothing to do with me people. I am that. I'm also a Palestine ain't got nothing to do with me person. I'm also a Ukraine ain't got nothing to do with me person. And I don't know how that affects whether or not Trump will get elected, but I feel like I've been pretty morally consistent in that. So that includes everyone who's silent about it, Rapaport said. He continued to remind those that are silent in the face of this, each and every one of you. In the video, he expounded those thoughts, beginning in sarcastic tones. You know what's going to be great? When D-stain Donald Trump gets elected, and I ain't saying I'm voting for him, he's voting for him. I think that deep down, Michael Rapaport feels like that he is the best option to keep him safe. That's what I think. I think that he believes, that ultimately, that Trump is better for him and his city. The screaming and yelling that you curse word, miserable others on college campuses are doing right now. The screaming that you're doing at Jews about free Palestine, the screaming that you're doing at Zionists is going to be nothing compared to the screaming that you're going to do come November when Donald Trump wins the presidency because of you, he said. And historically, Google me, you know how I feel about Donald Trump, but it'll be worth the screaming, the crying, and the yelling, he continued. I can't wait to see these effing protests come November when Donald Trump wins because of you literal BJs. The video ended with Rapaport throwing back his head and cackling, I can't wait. I mean, he's not wrong. I think that ultimately you end up with, if you look at the comments on this video, this is his tweet. Obviously, the anti-Jewish screaming on college campuses will be worth the screaming when Trump wins in November, and you have nobody to scream at but yourself. That includes everyone who's silent about it right now, each and every one of you. Hey, look, I'm saying you both should shut up. I mean, that's where my position's at. Like, I'm not really interested in, in America getting involved in any more kinds of battles or wars or anything like that. And it's so weird to me that people don't seem to understand that, Mandel says, can you bring me peace to the Middle East? The best I can do is fund both sides of the war. You're totally voting for Trump. Yeah, I mean, I would say at this point, I don't think he's actually going to, but it'll be interesting. I don't know how many of these people will really, for example, how many of these people will really actually cast their vote. I don't know. Like, I've never been so ideologically tied to one side of the aisle or the other that, like, when I was voting or, in the voting booth, that I felt like weirdly conflicted or anything. I just never really felt that way. I just voted for who I wanted to vote for. And, then I went on about with my business. So I don't know if Michael Rapaport says he's going to vote for Donald Trump, same thing. I don't know exactly how many people aren't, how many people he's going to sway. I don't know how the Jewish vote is. Trump has always been pretty pro-Israel guy. He's basically come out there and said, that he doesn't like all these protests on various comments and things like that. I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Ultimately, I think it'll be interesting to see if Rapaport continues his slide away from the Democrat Party. But again, I don't think he really commands a lot of votes. I don't think he really commands a lot of clout. I just think it's funny. The whole thing is funny. His meltdown is funny. It's funny to comment on. Do you think Michael Rapaport's going to go ahead and vote Donald Trump? You let me know in the comment section down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.